Und hallo zurück bei Rise of the Tomb Raider, Episode 26. Und dieses Mal machen wir Croft-Anwesen. Und Croft-Anwesen ist der DLC, der hat zwei Teile, Blutsbande und Lares Albtraum und noch einen VR-Modus. Der ist aber ausgegraut, weil ich jetzt die Brille hier nicht angeschlossen habe. Ja, ich muss sagen, ich habe eine ganze Weile das Spiel nicht gespielt. Ich hatte die Hauptstory durchgespielt und dann eine kleine Pause gemacht. Also muss ich erstmal ein bisschen Gameplay-mäßig wieder reinkommen. Ich war kurz im Hauptspiel, habe ein bisschen rumgeschossen, ein bisschen rumgesprungen. Ja, deswegen würde ich sagen, wir fangen einfach mal an mit Blutsbande.
Final notice to Lara Croft, a current tenant of premises. This is to serve as your final notice for the purposes of terminating your ownership of Croft Manor. You are required to immediately vacate and surrender possession of said manor to Atlas de Mornay, executor of
Lara,
estates.
it is unfortunate that you have forced my hand in this matter, but so be it. As you know, your parents appointed me executor of the estate in the event of their absence. Since your mother disappeared, her death was never technically declared. And given the circumstances surrounding your father's death, it's no surprise that he never drafted a formal last will and testament to account for this circumstance. Unfortunately, you have no legal claims to the estate. I'm willing to negotiate a modest monthly stipend from your trust, but only if you leave the manor by week's end. Don't fight me on this, Lara. Your mother wouldn't want that. Sincerely, Atlas.
There has to be a will or some kind of evidence of what happened to Mum in the manor somewhere. Dad's safe.
Okay, ja, ich glaube bei diesem DLC, so wie ich das verstanden habe, ist man nur in dem Croft-Anwesen hier unterwegs und sammelt ganz viele Gegenstände, wie man hier schon sieht, die alle so golden sind. Und in Laras Albtraum, da gibt es dann irgendwie, weiß ich nicht, irgendwie ein paar Kampfsequenzen. Aber gehen wir erstmal zum Safe hier.
Needs a combination. It's got to be in Dad's papers somewhere. Maybe in the library.
So.
Need a combination for this lock. My birthday crown. I was so proud of that thing.
Foto von Lara mit ägyptischer Krone.
That's my handwriting. My penmanship was pretty good.
Meine Geburtstagskrone, auf das Ding war ich so stolz, das ist meine Handschrift. Ich hatte eine echt schöne Schrift. Ich habe eine richtig hässliche Schrift. Also, die hat sich seit der 3. Klasse nicht verändert. Also, das ist manchmal schwierig für mich selber, wenn ich irgendwas aufgeschrieben habe, das nochmal zu entziffern. Aber das ist wie so eine Art Geheimschrift.
Dad would have liked me to go to Oxford, but I insisted on UCL. Yep, looks real. Roth once offered to forge me a fake diploma to show Dad.
Lord Crofts Diplom. Dad hätte mich gerne nach Oxford geschickt, aber ich wollte ans UCL. Ja, sieht echt aus. Roth wollte mir ein Diplom fälschen, damit ich es Dad zeigen kann. Ich muss mal kurz gucken. Ja, okay. Hier kann man das alles nochmal durchgucken. 42 Dokumente, 54 Relikte. Genau, hier sammelt man wohl nur Sachen und ich glaube, springen, rollen kann ich nicht und kämpfen auch nicht. Naja.
Well, this is a hell of a thing. I met someone tonight quite unexpectedly. But it shouldn't have been, it seems. I've been so buried in my work, so distracted by my latest revelations, I never bothered to notice my surroundings. But there she was, sitting at my table in the library. Her name is Amelia. And apparently she's been studying right next to me. Art history, of all things. I shared some of my research against my better judgment, but I wanted to see how she would respond. And she did not disappoint. I felt as if I was suddenly engaged in a mental game of chess, moving and counter-moving in argument. At one point, that poor old librarian had to shush us as if we were children. I feel so foolish for not having noticed her earlier. She's a brilliant woman who's challenged my ideas for the first time in memory. In truth, I don't know if she's feeling as exhilarated as I am right now, but I dare say our conversation was mutually stimulating. For the first time in a long time, I find myself thinking about something else besides my research. I hope she returns for another round tomorrow.
My parents made a good team, challenging each other from the start.
So, okay, hier ist noch was. Beziehungsweise nichts ist dort.
A picture with Dad and Anna. Never liked wearing dresses, but the color was nice.
Foto von Laura, Richard und Anna. Ein Bild mit Dad und Anna. Ich habe Kleider nie gemocht, aber die Farbe war schön.
This is probably my grandfather Benjamin.
Büste von Benjamin Croft. Das ist vermutlich mein Großvater Benjamin.
One of Dad's Yoruba masks, a gift from a friend he met on an expedition in Nigeria.
Afrikanische Maske. Eine von Dads Yoruba-Masken. Das Geschenk eines Freundes von der Nigeria-Expedition.
I finally introduced Richard to the family. It went precisely how I imagined. Icy but polite grace from mother, indifference and disinterest from father, and thinly veiled contempt from Atlas. Of course they don't approve. To them, Lord Croft is the man who took away their beloved daughter and ruined her long-standing engagement, though I was never going to marry that repugnant Earl of Farringdon anyway. One might think they would be happy that I was being courted by a genuine lord of the realm. It just happens to be Richard Croft. In their eyes, the man who single-handedly ruined a once great family. But there's nothing to be done now. Watching how Richard dealt with their subtle insults and disrespect. Such grace and calm. I know he did it for me. I think I'm falling in love with this man. It will break my mother's heart, but I cannot live the life she imagined for me. My time with Richard has only made this clearer.
Nächste Schritte. Moms eigene Worte. Ich kann mir fast vorstellen, wie sie spricht. Ich wünschte, ich könnte mich an ihre Stimme erinnern.
It must have been hard for Mum to go against her family's wishes. I'm glad she did. Dad's map of the forgotten cities of northern Syria. He was closer than he knew to finding the prophet's tomb.
Antike Karte von Nordsyrien. Dads Karte der vergessenen Städte Nordsyriens. Er war dem Grab des Propheten schon näher, als er ahnte. Ja, tatsächlich spielt das ja nach der Story, chronologisch gesehen. Also dieses DLC hier.
Dad's book about immortality myths might be useful in my research.
Die Wahrheit hinter dem Mythos. Dads Buch über Unsterblichkeitsmythen könnte ganz nützlich sein. Ist das ein echtes Buch? Truth Behind Myth. Ach nee, das hat er selber geschrieben. Okay, Lord Richard Croft. Na gut. Ja. Also wer das Hauptspiel nicht gesehen hat, das Let's Play, und seltsamerweise hier einsteigt bei Episode 26. Also da gehe ich mal davon aus, dass man das auch so verstehen kann, diesen DLC, aber wahrscheinlich ist es besser, auch den Rest gesehen zu haben.
The door to the library. Locked. There's got to be another way through. This is the map I made for my first expedition with Dad. It shows a path to the library through the servants' passages.
Expeditionskarte 1 von 2. Diese Karte habe ich für meine erste Expedition mit Dad gemacht. Darauf ist ein Weg zur Bibliothek durch die Dienstbotengänge. Okay.
Wait, I can get to the library through the old servants' corridor. Dad's artifacts from the Nile Valley. I always loved looking at these. Dad became interested in immortality myths after his expeditions to Egypt.
Ägyptisches Kreuz. Nach seiner Ägypten-Expedition war Dad fasziniert von Unsterblichkeitsmythen. Naja, wahrscheinlich, weil Anna ihn so darauf, weiß ich nicht, getrimmt hat. Nehme ich mal an.
Too dark. Going to need a flashlight.
Okay. Ja, das wird hier wahrscheinlich der große Collectible-Thon. Also dieses Let's Play von dem DLC hier. Aber es macht ja nichts. Ist nicht. So.
Hi, Dad. I've been thinking about Mum lately. I wish I knew more about her. How did you meet? What was she like? Winston told me that she was a brilliant artist. Are some of her paintings locked up in the West Wing? And I guess I just want to know, did she love me, Dad? Did she ever say that she did? Maybe I'm just being silly, but will you tell me more about her the next time I'm home from school?
Fragen über Mom. Es war so schwierig für Dad, über Mom zu reden.
Well, hello there, Sir Lancelot. Don't worry, I won't be borrowing your sword this time.
Ist doch was. Aber nicht der Laptop.
Lara, I've reviewed the report from your therapist. I have to say I was surprised to see a clean bill of health. I somehow doubt you've so easily abandoned your irrational claims. Indeed, where have you been the past few weeks? My secretary discovered that you booked a flight to Turkey on the 20th. You can't have been simply sightseeing, as your customs claims suggest. I know you're up to something, and I'll be damned if I let you use the Croft assets to indulge the same obsession that led to my sister's death. It's not too late to relinquish your claims on the manor voluntarily. If you refuse, I will find a way to cut you off. Sincerely, Atlas.
Beseitigung. Ich weiß nicht, wie ich es finde, dieses alte Anwesen zu behalten, aber eins weiß ich, Onkel Atlas muss aus meinem Leben verschwinden. Aha. Das ist also der Bruder von der Frau.
The Grand Hall. Always loved playing in here as a kid. This will be one of the first things to fix. A phoenix figurine. I bet this appealed to Dad's idea of immortality, of rising from the ashes and being born anew.
Phönixfigur, eine Phönixfigur. Hat bestimmt Dads Idee der Unsterblichkeit angesprochen, aus der Asche heraus neu geboren zu werden.
This belongs to Anna. Most of her belongings are in the guest house. What was she doing in here? Someone has a sense of humor.
Annas Zigarettenetui. Das gehört Anna. Die meisten ihrer Sachen sind im Gästehaus. Was hatte sie hier drin verloren? Da hat jemand Sinn für Humor. Da steht Stop Smoking Love R. So Richard wahrscheinlich.
Lara, you know the West Wing is off limits.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to see...
We've been through this.
Was Mum's room in here?
Just stay out of there, darling.
Dad was always so protective of the West Wing. Locked. Need a key to open this.
So, okay, na gut.
What are you doing sitting there on the floor, Mistress Lara?
Looking at the compass. thinking.
What about, if I may inquire?
Just thinking about discovering faraway places, about finding adventure.
I'm sure you will, my lady. You've the soul of an explorer. But don't grow up too fast.
The offer came in the post last week, and I still haven't told Richard. He flew ahead to Tibet, where I will meet him shortly. I never told him I was submitting my work. Never thought there was a chance of being accepted. Oh, but a gallery tour is not something I can pass up. The show will take me away from England for over a year. I'll begin in New York and travel across the United States and, oh, God, I'm giddy even writing these words. When Richard and I were married, I was prepared to relegate my painting to a hobby, but it was Richard who objected, who gave me my atelier and studio. Without that support, I might still be painting boring landscapes. Now I can't shake the foolish sensation that leaving would be a betrayal. He will laugh at that and insist I accept, even though I know it will break his heart to be apart. He never once asked me to sacrifice any part of my life for his. I have, of course, in 1,000 small ways over the years, but he would never ask. The discussion can wait, and I will join him in Tibet. I won't cast a shadow over his find. I will be by his side in his triumph, as I know he will stand by my side, in time.
Ein Leben voller Möglichkeiten. Das ist unglaublich. Mom war kurz davor, einen ihrer Träume zu erfüllen. Das Schicksal kann so grausam sein.
I'm not sure. I really need to brush up on my ancestors one of these days.
Unbekannte Büste. Keine Ahnung. Ich sollte mich mal mit meinen Vorfahren beschäftigen.
Got to remember to pack this for my next trip.
Taschenlampe, die darf ich bei meiner nächsten Reise nicht vergessen. Neue Ausrüstung halten, Taschenlampe. Taschenlampe geht bei
Should be able to explore the dark now.
dunkler Bereich automatisch an. Aha.
Hey Jonah, sorry for not getting back to you sooner. I've decided to do some research at the manor. A lot has happened and I need some time to think about what I want to do next. This old place is filled with memories and secrets. Uncle Atlas has tried to keep me out of here for so long I don't even know if I want to keep it. But after everything that's happened, maybe I can find out what it still means to me. If it's worth fighting him for, I'll let you know how things worked out when I'm back in London.
Eine Nachricht an Jonah. Ich hoffe, Jonah macht sich um mich keine allzu großen Sorgen. Wir haben nicht miteinander geredet, seit ich nach Syrien gereist bin. Okay.
Another one of Dad's immortality artifacts. I think Roth bought this for him from a trader in Greece.
Ouroboros-Amulett. Eins von Dads Unsterblichkeitsartefakten. Ich glaube, Roth hat es für ihn von einem griechischen Händler mitgebracht. So. Dann denke ich, habe ich alles hier angeguckt. Ich kann... Habe ich hier schon alles gesehen jetzt? Ich denke ja. Also kann ich erstmal... Wo war das? Da hinten, oder? Nee. War weiter vorne. hier.
Amelia, the news has reached Mother. She knows that you broke off your engagement with the Earl of Farringdon. She is beside herself with worry. But, for the moment, she's controlling the narrative. As far as anyone knows, you're just having innocent second thoughts. But the moment your affair with Lord Croft goes public, it will be too late. Our name will be as ruined as this man you've chosen to bed. Don't you see that you're being selfish, Amelia? Please, consider your family. You're a de Mornay. Everything you do has a greater effect on us all. I'm coming down to London soon. Don't do anything rash until we have a chance to talk.
Warnung eines Bruders. Mom war mit jemand anderem verlobt. Es gibt so vieles, was ich nie über sie wusste. Ui.
Falling apart. Maybe I should just let my uncle have this place.
So, jetzt geht's weiter nach unten.
They say a good test of a relationship is how well you travel together. Well, I'd say Amelia and I have passed that test with flying colors. Indeed, these last few months in Egypt have been nothing short of extraordinary. She and Roth get on like old uni chums. In fact, the two have spent more than a few nights drinking and playing cards into the wee hours. Despite her decidedly proper upbringing, Amelia's taken to roughing it more than I ever have. She fits in and connects with the local populace with such amazing empathy. Because of her, I've had a bit of an unexpected breakthrough in my research. She managed to convince an artifact dealer in Old Town to sell me a magnificent and quite unusual Tibetan scroll. From what I can tell, it seems to contain details surrounding an immortality ritual of some sort. I think it's time for me to take the next step with Amelia. In fact, I don't think I can wait any longer. I will ask for her hand tomorrow in the bright Egyptian sun amidst the dust and ruins.
Okay, der hat sich also für Unsterblichkeit schon vorher interessiert und nicht erst seit Anna kam. Gemeinsame Reisen. Ich habe so viele Geschichten über diese Expedition gehört. Aus Dads Perspektive wird mir klar, dass es Mom war, die alles so unvergesslich gemacht hat.
I'm not surprised he asked her to marry him as soon as he got the idea.
So. Gehen wir mal hier in den gruseligen Keller.
Amelia, I know we have had our differences in recent years. I've tried my best to keep an open mind about your relationship with Richard, but I just can't let you go on this ill-conceived expedition without saying my piece. You say Richard's theories have merit. You say that he may have actually stumbled upon some mythic, unknown truth, but I have seen nothing to support such claims. And while your word may have been enough in times past, I cannot let you squander away what remains of your name and reputation, and that of our family, truth be told, on some damned foolish crusade. I intend to go to Richard's investors and let them know exactly how he's spending their money, but I want to give you a chance to put a stop to this yourself. Please, don't go to Tibet. If not for me, at least for Lara.
Bitte eines Bruders. Onkel Atlas hat meiner Familie schon zu lange Probleme bereitet. Ich bin froh, dass Mom seine Warnungen ignoriert hat.
Still just as creepy as I remember.
My lord, I hope this missive finds you on a successful expedition and in good health. Before I bore you with estate affairs, I wanted to let you know that our little angel has been into some mischief. As always, I indulged her in our usual game of chess. Over the course of the game, she broached the subject of her mother. She's having trouble remembering her now, and wanted to enter her ladyship's atelier, which you sealed off, to play on her mother's piano. It enraged her when she wasn't allowed to go in, of course. For someone so young, she has such strong emotions. Later in the day, she set a trap for me in the walk-in freezer, of all places. Before I knew what was happening, I found myself locked inside. Mrs. Sheffield discovered me an hour later, shivering and somewhat peeved. It took us an additional hour to find Lara in the grounds. I know all her hiding places, of course, but this time she really did not want to be found. Call it years of observation, but I can tell when she's out of sorts. My lord, if I may be so bold, she misses you fiercely. She is lonely for her father. Please consider a call as soon as you are able.
Kleiner Engel, oh, armer Winston, ich erinnere mich daran, ich kann nicht glauben, was ich für ein Gör war. Gott sei Dank hat er mit mir so viel Geduld.
Poor Winston. I remember being so angry. He was always so patient with me.
Ich glaube, das ist so eine Anspielung darauf, was man in einem der älteren Spiele machen konnte. Da konnte man auch, ich bin mir nicht sicher, in irgendeinem der ersten 3 Teile konnte man auch im Croft anwesend sein, oder in den ersten 4 Teilen. Und dort gab es diesen Butler, Winston, und den konnte man irgendwie ja, in diesen Kühlraum einsperren. Ich weiß nicht, ob es da auch irgendwie was gab, ob es da irgendwie eine Zwischensequenz gab oder irgendwie, ob es da einen Dialog gab. Aber irgendwie war das so, man konnte den halt irgendwie reinsperren. Und diese ersten 3 Teile, die kommen jetzt tatsächlich oder sind schon raus, wenn das hier ausgestrahlt ist, ich weiß nicht, im Januar oder Februar kommen die raus als Remastered. Aber da ich nicht so der Fan der alten Teile bin
King to Queen 1. I'm going to win this time, Winston.
Clever girl. But you should know by now, winning isn't everything. Queen to King's Bishop 6. Check.
Easy for you to say. You always win. Knight takes queen.
What I mean to say is try to enjoy the journey, Lara. Don't rush to victory. Bishop to King 7.
I know, Winston. I just want... Oh no! I didn't even see that.
You should also know by now, I'm not to be trifled with on this board, young lady. Mate.
Oh, I am going to win. Someday.
Was ich sagen wollte, ich bin von den alten Teilen nicht so der Fan, hab die nie wirklich gespielt. Aber ja, die gibt's als Remastered-Trilogie und das ist ja cool für die Leute, die früher gut fanden oder die alten Teile mal spielen wollen. Ah ja, okay. Ich muss mich an alles erinnern und dann zurückgehen jedes Mal.
I would play chess with our old butler Winston on this board. Never could beat him. I always chose white. Maybe if I let him go first once in a while, I might have won.
Altes Schachbrett, darauf habe ich mit unserem alten Butler Winston Schach gespielt. Ich habe nie gewonnen. Ich habe immer weiß gewählt. Ob ich mal gewonnen hätte, wenn er angefangen hätte?
I'm at a crossroads now. Good Lord, that's such a cliché. But there's truth in it. 2 roads before me. Both present joy and compromise. A life with Richard, adventure, intellectual pursuit, perhaps a new family. But also a man obsessed with something I cannot understand. Or a life of obligation, upholding the de Mornay name, embracing our traditions, not losing the family that raised me. Oh, this really is a rubbish choice. I don't want to lose them, but I love the life I've started to build with Richard. He comes with his own difficulties, but I can accept them. Will it be enough?
Entscheidungen. Die Zeit, die sie bei uns war, ich hoffe, es war genug. Ich hoffe, das war es wert.
Everything is almost ready for Mistress Lara's birthday expedition surprise. It's been a bit of an all-hands-on-deck effort organizing the affair and keeping it secret. She's obsessed with Egypt, memorizing hieroglyphs and ancient Egyptian districts, so she'll be delighted with what Lord Croft has come up with. This will be good for her. She's been acting up of late, but I know she's just craving more of her father's attention. He's been so buried in his research. It'll be a nice moment for the two of them to reconnect. And I do believe he needs it as much as she does.
Geburtstagsexpedition. Es war wirklich einer der besten Geburtstage, die ich jemals hatte.
Dad loved a good bottle of wine. I can still smell his favorite Bordeaux.
Croft-Karaffe. Dad hat gut Wein geliebt. Ich rieche noch sein Lieblingsbordeaux.
Dad, this is it! The basement of despair!
Indeed, Lara. Muster your courage, for this is the only path to the Library of Infinite Knowledge.
Look there! See the string?
An ancient Egyptian tripwire. The keepers of knowledge want none to disturb their treasures. We must tread carefully.
Let me lead. I know how to spot all the traps.
I'm sure you do, my darling. Lead on.
Hier ging es ja auch nochmal um die Ecke hinein. Ja, okay.
My stuffed bear. I couldn't have a tomb without a mummy.
Mumienbär. Oh, mein Stoffbär. Was wäre ein Grab schon ohne eine Mumie? Okay.
One of the wire traps Winston made for my birthday expedition.
Eine von Winstons Seilpfanne für meine Geburtstagsexpedition.
Winston used my hair ribbons to make this. He and Dad put a lot of work into this birthday surprise.
Aha, Winston hat dafür meine Haarbänder benutzt. Er und Dad haben sich für meinen Geburtstag echt ins Zeug gelegt.
Water damage from the main hall above.
Alles kaputtgeschlagen hier. Und Wasser.
This bust of Anubis was from Dad's Egyptian collection. He must have put it down in the basement for our little expedition.
Antike Anubis-Büste. Diese Anubis-Büste stammt aus Dads Ägypten-Sammlung. Er muss sie für unsere kleine Expedition in den Keller gestellt haben. Hier ist, obwohl ich weiß, dass es nicht geht. Ja.
Plans for adding electricity to the manor. Dad used to say his granny hated all the bright lights. There's a missing page.
Renovierungspläne. Pläne des Pläne, das Anwesen ans Stromnetz anzuschließen. Dad sagte immer, Oma hätte grelles Licht gehasst. Hier fehlt eine Seite.
Amelia left tonight. She packed her suitcase and walked right out of here, and I didn't even notice. Like those days in the Oxford Library before we even met. I just had my nose in a book, lost in my own world. I am such a fool. I have let my obsession with this damned ritual of long life rule my better judgment for far too long, and it may already be too late. How could I have not seen this coming? I've made this mistake over and over, always putting my research before my personal life. But it's never hurt like this before. I simply cannot live without her. If I have to give up this accursed quest that has plagued me for so long, then so be it. I am going after her, right now, tonight.
Risse im Fundament. Es war fast vorbei, bevor es begonnen hatte. Ich habe bei Dad immer bewundert, dass er erkennen konnte, wann er falsch lag. Ja, das ist eine Fähigkeit, die man sich aneignen sollte.
Okay, Dad's ledger has to be in here somewhere. Hopefully it has the combination to the safe.
I've created a clever little map for Lara's birthday expedition. I used the invisible ink Amelia picked up for me in Morocco so many years ago. At the time, I remember being so annoyed by that rather aggressive street vendor, but she just smiled in her sunny way and paid him without a second thought. I assumed it was just a tourist scam, but it actually works. Turns out it requires a very specific kind of vellum and a heat source to illuminate the ink after it's dried. It should prove a nice challenge for Lara to puzzle out.
Geheimtitel. Dad hat so viel Arbeit in die Geburtstagsexpedition gesteckt.
I always accepted that Richard's rather unorthodox research was just something I had to live with. But this time, the thrill of discovery has taken hold of me. I never imagined I could be drawn in this way. Richard cabled to tell me he's found the monastery. The symbol we deciphered in the scroll was the key to its location. I don't know if I honestly believe that this will lead to the fabled elixir of life, but I can't help but feel that a great secret awaits us there. My brother was threatening to shut down the expedition, but I managed to talk him down for the time being. Now I am going to meet Richard. I would bring Lara if I could, but she's still too young. She'll be in good hands with Winston, and when we return, her parents might just be a bit more famous.
Die Reise. Sie begann daran zu glauben. Es muss Dad so vorgemacht haben, dass sie seine wilden Ideen akzeptierte.
This music is familiar. It's beautiful. It appears Sir Reginald's helmet fell off. Or didn't I put it back properly?
So. Was hier? Ja.
Took quite a tumble off of this old thing when I was a girl. Still feel it in the shoulder from time to time.
Bleib erstmal unten.
For God's sake, memorize the combination, you fool. Lara's expedition treasure. My favorite painting by Amelia. The day of our wedding anniversary.
Hinweise. Dad hätte die Kombination nie aufgeschrieben, aber wie es aussieht, hat er für sich Hinweise dagelassen, um sich die Zahlen zu merken.
Okay, got to find those objects to figure out the combination to the safe. Dad's lighter. I don't remember him ever using it though. The Croft family crest and initials PC. I wonder if this belonged to my grandfather.
Altes Feuerzeug. Dads Feuerzeug, aber benutzt hat er es meines Wissens nie. Das Croft-Familienwappen und Initialen BC. Ob das mein Großvater gehört? Neue Ausrüstung erhalten, Feuerzeug. Drücken und halten
Okay,
die Vierecke
should be able to light the fireplace now.
in der Nähe eines Kamins oder Kerzen im Anwesen, um sie anzuzünden. Hier so vielleicht? Geht das? Das kann ich nicht anzünden, okay. Aber hier. Ja, aber ich weiß nicht, was das bringt. Ich habe angemacht. So.
I've reached the monastery. As Roth predicted, it was hidden deep in the Himalayas. And now that I'm standing on these high stone walls, I am overwhelmed by the sheer beauty of the mountains that surround me. It is simply breathtaking. But what adds to their spiritual majesty is the truth of this place. The monks welcomed me, as is their way, but they seemed to expect me. They must have known someone like me would eventually come seeking answers. I know this is the place. They've conducted the ritual before. I have seen the evidence, the distinctive symbols carved into the floors, the art displayed on the inner chamber's walls. They've created the elixir before, and they will again if I can convince them. I sent Amelia a message straight away. I want her by my side for this discovery.
Oh.
Dad was looking for an elixir. Was it the elixir of life?
Habe ich nicht gelesen, was dort stand. Was ist das? Geheimtinte, erste Eindrücke. Was war das? Dad oder irgendwas mit dem Vater, oder? Da war das ein Artefakt. Oh. Lord und Lady Croft, Unsterblichkeitssammlung. Mächtnis der Vorfahren Croft Großfamilie. Was könnte es sein? Riss im Fundament? Nee. Geheimtinte, nicht Entdeckungen.
I've reached the monastery.
Ah, Entdeckungen. Dad hat mir nie von diesem Mythos erzählt. Wieso war er sich da so sicher? Was hat er gefunden, das ihn überzeugte? Es wäre echt. Was hat er gefunden, das ihn überzeugte? Es wäre echt. Ein bisschen falsch betont.
This is my handiwork. I used to love drawing pictures of tigers.
Lauras Zeichnung aus der Kindheit. Das ist mein Werk. Das ist mein Werk. Ich habe immer so gerne Tiger gezeichnet.
Spent so many hours in here, reading, dreaming of my own adventures.
Okay.
I remember this now. Each district in ancient Egypt had a symbol and a number. I always preferred these symbols to the actual number hieroglyphs.
Hieroglyphenblatt. Jetzt erinnere ich mich. Jeder Bezirk im alten Ägypten hatte ein Symbol und eine Zahl. Ich fand die Symbole schon immer schöner als die Zahlenhieroglyphen. Okay. Aha.
Now, let me see. These two myths are referencing the same source material. But where did I see this image?
Dad, I think it's this one, in the chapter on Egyptian districts.
Why, yes, I think you're right, Lara.
I remember the page with the illustration of Ra.
My goodness, you've been paying attention, haven't you? This could be an important breakthrough.
Does this mean I'm your research assistant?
That and more, my darling girl.
Takes me back. Those were good times. The best times. This was always one of my favorite books in this library. I used to trace hieroglyphs.
Ägyptisches Hieroglyphenbuch. Das war eins meiner Lieblingsbücher hier. Ich habe die Hieroglyphen immer nachgemalt.
One of Winston's notes. He always hid sweets for me to find.
Notiz von Winston. Einer von Winstons Zetteln. Er hat immer Süßes für mich versteckt. Laura, Jaffa Cakes next to William Blake. Next to William Blake. Okay, ich würde sagen... Ist hier noch was? Nee. Gehen wir erstmal hier hoch. So, okay. Wow. Okay. Ach so, okay, hier geht's jetzt hoch.
Blank, except for the image of a key.
Expeditionskarte 2 von 2. Leer, bis auf das Bild eines Schlüssels. Das ist wahrscheinlich mit der Geheimtinte.
I remember this map now. It leads to the master key, but we made it with a special kind of invisible ink. It could only be seen with the heat of a fire. I think I stashed one of Winston's master keys in here when I was a kid.
So.
I can see the map. Looks like the key is hidden under a trunk near the bookcase.
Ich sehe die Karte, Expeditionskarte 2 von 2 enthüllt. Ich sehe die Karte. Der Schlüssel steckt wohl unter einer Truhe beim Bücherregal.
X marks the spot, as they say.
Okay. Jetzt aber erstmal hochgehen.
This picture was taken in the library. (1820) additions to the main hall in progress.
Foto der Bibliothek. Das Foto wurde in der Bibliothek gemacht. 1820. Anbauten der Haupthalle in Arbeit. Okay. Naja. Jetzt hat es gleich hier revealed. So. Ui.
The master key. This should get me into the West Wing.
Hauptschlüssel. Der Hauptschlüssel. Damit komme ich in den Westflügel. Neu Ausrüstung gehalten. Hauptschlüssel. Hauptschlüssel.
Alright.
Drücken Sie.
This should open most rooms in the manor, including the forbidden West Wing.
Drücken Sie Viereck in der Nähe auf verschlossene Tür oder Truhe, um sie zu öffnen. Okay, waren hier noch irgendwelche Türen? Hinten war eine Tür.
I think there might be more clues to find in the library.
Mistress Lara, I took the liberty of preparing a tray, as dinner did not go according to plans. I've included, in addition to your meal, a few treats. I would appreciate it if you kept this between us, but I felt tonight called for something special. If you will forgive me the indulgence, your rapid exit from the dinner table had me concerned, and I wanted to impart something that I hope sets your mind at ease. I have known your father for quite some time. There is an intensity to his passion that can be frightening, but I recognize that same passion in you. You're more like him than you know. Never doubt that he loves you more than his research, more than his artifacts, more than anything in this world. Storms pass, and tomorrow will be clear and blue again. When you have finished, please leave the tray outside. Be well. Yours, Winston.
Stürme ziehen vorbei. Ich kann mich an diesen Brief gar nicht erinnern. Ich bin sicher, dass ich damals nicht lesen konnte. Hat er es mehr für sich als für mich geschrieben? Okay. Das ist nichts. Wo sind wir denn jetzt eigentlich überhaupt? Okay. Ah ja. So. Kann ich das hier anzünden? Auch immer. Oh, hier ist noch was. Das wird verpasst.
Lara, since your return from your expedition to Yamatai, I've grown increasingly alarmed at your erratic behavior. I can only assume you suffered some kind of psychological trauma and are only acting out as a call for help. I want you to know that I hear you, loud and clear. Anna and I agree that it's time for you to be evaluated by a professional. I took the liberty of arranging an introduction to a highly qualified colleague of mine. You should be receiving the details in the post soon. I want to impress upon you the importance of this, Lara. As executor of the estate, it is my duty to see that it is left in capable hands. And if I may be blunt, you're acting like your father when he was at his worst. He nearly lost the manor himself in those days. I'd hate for you to repeat his mistakes. I encourage you to embrace the help I'm offering. Sincerely, your uncle.
Eine dezente Bedrohung. Der erste Versuch meines Onkels, mich vom Anwesen zu vertreiben. Der ging aber nach hinten los. Ich war nicht so verrückt, wie er glaubte. Da sind jetzt hier neue Dinge gespawnt. Das kann ich mir gar nicht vorstellen. Habe ich wahrscheinlich einfach bloß übersehen erst. Ich werde mal hier zurückgehen. Und wahrscheinlich ist dann dort oben in dieser Kiste der letzte Hinweis, oder der zweite Hinweis, der letzte von 2 Hinweisen.
The Pharaoh's crown from my birthday treasure hunt. How old was I again? 6? 8? I think this hieroglyph corresponds to a number. But which one?
Ägyptische Krone. Die Pharaonenkrone von meiner Geburtstagsschatzsuche. Wie alt war ich da? 6? 8? Ich glaube, diese Hieroglyphe steht für eine Zahl, aber welche nur?
Okay, Dad's clues mention Mum's paintings and their anniversary. Hopefully I can find some answers in the West Wing.
So, ui. So, hier habe ich alles gefunden. So. Ich glaube, hier oben war ja noch so eine Truhe. Nicht recht im Sinne. Ja, da war ich gewesen. So.
The Croft family crest.
Croft Familienwappen. Das Croft Familienwappen. Ist immer schön, dass da gar nichts drin liegt. Also zumindest nichts dargestellt wird. Wenn man das aufmacht. Ich gehe nochmal kurz unten rum. Ist nicht mal hier noch eine Tür auf der Seite. Nee, sieht nicht so aus. Okay, mit der anderen auch nicht. Also. Dann kann ich ja nur noch hier lang gehen. Dort. Da bin ich gekommen. So, oh, das ist aber. Das angucken? Nee. Na dann. Der Baum reingestürzt.
With Amelia gone, the manor is a different place. A dimness pervades, a quiet I can't stand. Even though Lara is too young to understand what has happened, she also senses the change. She's asked after her mother only once, and I'm afraid my reaction must have terrified her. I will need Winston more than ever these next few months to help look after her. I never quite realized how much grief can consume a man, but I am utterly consumed. I know I can't escape the pain, but I will try my damnedest to avoid it. I will seal the West Wing for as long as I live in this place. It will remain exactly as Amelia left it. Perhaps someday Lara can find her own answers there.
Von Trauer verzerrt. Dad hat recht, ich konnte die Veränderung spüren. Und jetzt werde ich meine eigenen Antworten finden. Okay. Dieser Raum hier.
I believe it took this trip to push me over the edge. I've been able to see Richard in his element, seeing him at his best and his worst. I've experienced the purity and chaos of his passion, and I came to realize I want his passion in my life every day. So it's done. Richard wanted to wait another 4 days until my birthday, but I wouldn't have it. Once I make a decision, I prefer to get on with it. So we found a small chapel in Luxor that was just right. And with Roth and the others at our side, we married as the sun set over this remarkable land. Mother will never forgive me. Atlas will forever resent me. But I don't care anymore. I'm free of de Mornay obligations, free to pursue my own passions and live my life surrounded by those who will encourage and challenge me. I'm excited for the future, whatever it may bring. Tomorrow, Richard and I return home to London as the Crofts, forging our path together.
Vereinte Gegensätze. Die Hochzeit in Luxor war Moms Idee. Das habe ich gar nicht gewusst. Ich bin froh, dass ich nach all den Jahren neue Einblicke in ihr Leben bekomme.
Amelia would not have approved. That alone should have been the end of it. But I am, as God made me, a stubborn fool. I locked all the West Wing's doors, and I shall not open them again until either my life or my obstinacy comes to an end. The night before, Roth told me I would someday change my mind. Like a broken arm cast in plaster, he said. The wound would heal, and we would someday shed the bandages to be whole again. The metaphor made me furious. The clumsy way he cast our loss off as nothing more than an inconvenience. There is wisdom in his rough words, but I've done what I must. Perhaps one day, Lara will throw back the doors to let the sun shine in again. Maybe she will find her own sense of peace in this place.
Zeit anhalten. Ich weiß, dass Dad nicht damit klarkam, was passiert war, aber es ist Zeit, den Westflügel wieder zu öffnen. Man muss die Vergangenheit hinter sich lassen.
At least that old thing still works.
I am bursting with pride. Amelia is with child. It is amazing how everything in life can change with such a simple event. Obviously, we don't know the gender, but already we've discussed possible names. Perhaps Benjamin, after my grandfather, or maybe Griffin. He was more infamous a Croft than even me. No, Amelia wouldn't have it. Besides, she's certain it's a girl. She favours a classic such as Scarlet or Kate, though I've made some headway with Lara. A subtle nod to the sun god Ra, and our days in Egypt, where certainly this child was conceived. I find myself thinking about this new life we've created, of how much she might be like us. For all my research into myths of immortality, I may have ignored the most obvious answer to the questions that plague me. We live on through our progeny, our genes, DNA, experiences passed through the generations. Perhaps this is the simple truth of eternal life, and I've just been too stubborn to accept it.
Eine neue Croft. In gewisser Hinsicht hat Dad das Geheimnis der Unsterblichkeit herausgefunden, es aber nicht realisiert. Und ich bin froh, dass sie sich für Laura entschieden haben.
Dad may have discovered the secret to immortality without even knowing it. Mum's wedding ring. I always wondered what happened to it. The inscription is faded.
Amelias Ehering. Mams Ehering hab ich immer gefragt, was damit passiert ist. Die Inschrift ist verblasst. Verblasst. Da steht aber sowas wie Eternity Yours oder Eternally Yours wahrscheinlich. Würde grammatisch Sinn ergeben.
My mother's perfume. The smell. So familiar. I can almost remember her.
Amelias Parfümfläschchen, das Parfüm meiner Mutter, dieser vertraute Duft. Ich sehe sie beinahe vor mir.
Mum, on her wedding day, she looks so beautiful. There's a date, October something. Damn, the number is faded.
Foto von Amelia am Hochzeitstag. Mom an ihrem Hochzeitstag. Sie sieht so schön aus. Da steht ein Datum, irgendwas im Oktober. Mist, die Zahl ist verblasst.
The anniversary was in October, but which day? Oh, I can't believe I don't know this. There's got to be another clue somewhere. I remember this. Dad gave it to Mum on her birthday. October 13th, Mum's birthday.
Also 4 Tage eher. Amelias Anhänger. Ich erinnere mich, den hat Dad Mom zum Geburtstag geschenkt. 13 Jahre davor. Moms Geburtstag.
Pretty sure my parents were married in October. I think it was close to her birthday. This is Dad. I suppose it's a family tradition, but I can't imagine having one of these made of me.
Büste von Richard Croft. Das ist Dad, ist wohl Familientradition, aber ich kann mir nicht vorstellen, sowas von mir machen zu lassen.
After everything Atlas has done, how could you tell him about the expedition?
It's just all been too much. I needed to talk to someone. He's still my brother.
I don't trust him.
You don't have to, Richard, but please, trust me.
I'm sorry, my dear, but I know him. He'll take it to the papers. The investors will pull out.
Then go. Without me. Tonight. I will take care of Atlas. And then meet you in Tibet next week.
I was so young, but I still remember that terrible argument. It wasn't always an easy road for my parents. I think this was Dad's pocket watch. Looks like it stopped precisely at midnight.
Taschenuhr. Ich glaube, das war Dads Taschenuhr. Genau um 12 Uhr nachts stehen geblieben. So. Hier alles gefunden. Das sieht so aus. So.
Okay, Laura, keep it together. You're starting to see things. Mum's atelier. Dad sealed it soon after she died. He probably couldn't bear the idea of removing any of her belongings.
My lord, we all hope your work was well received at the conference and look forward to your return. As is so often the case with these missives, I wanted to call your attention to an incident involving our little angel. It seems that Lara has been the subject of some ridicule amongst the other girls at school. From what I can gather, some of the other young ladies were teasing her for being too much of a tomboy. You know how Lara can get when pushed into a corner. Let's just say they won't be bothering her again. But I do think their words have had an effect. I believe Lara has been missing her mother lately. She's begun to worry that she isn't like the other girls. And having grown up with only a father, it shouldn't come as a surprise that she has trouble relating to them. I wonder if this new friend of yours, Anna, is it? Perhaps she might prove a welcome influence. It might be worth bringing her to the manor to meet Lara. In any case, I'll let you decide the proper time to do that. Please travel home safely. Yours, Winston.
Sorge. Oh, Winston, er hat wirklich auf mich aufgepasst. So.
Untouched for years, exactly as she left it.
So, ich würde aber sagen, diese Episode ist an dieser Stelle zu Ende. Ich habe hier schon viel gesammelt, aber da kommt noch mehr dazu. Ich brauche auch noch ein paar Gegenstände, um weiterzukommen. Wie es dann aber weitergeht, das erfahrt ihr in der nächsten Episode. Also schaltet wieder ein. Bis dahin. Ciao!